Well, it's Monday morning on VUCA Africa, and that means we do a book review every Monday morning. We look at interview or welcome in an author into the studio, and we have something inspirational for everyone this morning. It's Monday morning. We thought you'd need a bit of inspiration. Own Your Own Industry is a new book by Douglas Kruger. It's about how to best create a profile for yourself, be the best face and voice in your field of specialization. He joins me now to unpack his book. Without giving too much away, obviously. Very good morning, Douglas. Thanks very much for joining us. Just tell us, Own Your Own Industry, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, yes, the idea is positioning yourself as an expert in your field. And the heart and soul of this book is saying, rather than having to go and cold call and earn customers one by one, how do you become the greatest name in your game so that they start coming to you? That's the essence of it.
Now, this is obviously a lot easier said than done, as we've discussed. So many people want to run their own businesses, and at the end of the day, it's a lot easier said than done.
Absolutely. It's a lot of work being an entrepreneur and making an industry come to you. Certainly, this is not an overnight idea. It's something that you would work at for years. In fact, when I speak on topics, I say, I'm inviting you to do much more work than is strictly necessary to get by in your industry. But the joy of being seen as the iconic name in your industry is that what starts to happen is, instead of having to seek out the deals come to you because you're the logical choice. Instead of having to seek out, say, media publicity, shows, they start coming to you because you're the big name. So what we're saying here is, in a nation that struggles with employment, in a continent in which people are obsessed about trying to get jobs and be employed, let's take the opposite route and encourage entrepreneurs and new businesses. But let's go one step beyond just helping them to break through and say, how do you become the best there is? That's how high we need to aim.
What makes someone an expert in any particular field?
Well, I believe there are three things. The three things that make a person an expert are knowledge, which is the most obvious one, personality, which is the one most people miss, and then publicity. I always contend that if you have all the knowledge but no personality, you're merely a specialist. And if you have all the personality but no knowledge, you're a Kardashian. In fact, if you take people like, say, the Jeremy Clarkson of the car world or Nigella Lawson in the world of food, what they've done is they've gone one step beyond the mere knowledge. They're working with the same raw materials as everyone else, but they've brought a personality to it. And that's the differentiator.
Now, I was paging through some of the aspects here, which I found quite interesting. Your last section in the book is 10 rookie errors to avoid.
Yes.
Some of them include being a weasel, coming on too strong, also getting drunk at public events. And obviously, this is the book. Tell us through some of those rookie errors.
Yes, well, one of them is neglecting the ribbon. And I use the example of when you buy a new car, the thing that you most want on the day is that ribbon around the car. And it doesn't matter that you paid the better part of, say, R1,000,000 for the car and the ribbon costs R2.50, you want the ribbon. Packaging and presentation matters greatly. The big corporate companies know this, but young entrepreneurs, new businesses tend to overlook it. And it really does change the value of what it is that you offer. And expert positioning is essentially saying that. It's saying raise your value, be worth more.
A lot of our discussion, you've also discussed the role of the media and getting up there. How important is that?
Well, it's incredibly important. Be a face and a voice in the public consciousness. There's an old joke that says, in fact, it seems to be true. They did a survey and they asked people, what is your number one fear? And death came second to public speaking. Most people would rather be the guy in the box than the one delivering a eulogy at a funeral. And expert positioning says, take the opposite viewpoint. Get yourself in front of the public eye as often as you can. Be a face and a voice in their consciousness. And just one example, many young entrepreneurs and new businesses, they know that PR is important, so they'll send out press releases. And that's good, but it means that you're an email address on a piece of paper. What you want to be is a face and a voice in an editor's mind. And that's slightly different. That changes how people perceive you.
When you say an editor's mind, what do you mean?
Well, let's say, for example, that you're submitting an article, a PR article, to an industry publication. Most people will go as far as simply sending out the press release and hope that it gets there. The expert will go and meet the editor and become the go-to source. And there again, that's how that dynamic begins to happen. You go from approaching the media to suddenly having the media approach you because they know that you're the go-to person.
Douglas, when people read this book, what kind of mindset changes are you wanting them to make?
The very simple idea behind this is saying, how can you be the greatest in your game, the best at what you do? And it looks at competing as technically the best, but also the PR side of presenting yourself as the best. So it's saying, let's get beyond the mindset of struggling to start a business or struggling to grow a career and go, what do you actually do, practically speaking, to become the best in your game?
You've mentioned also the likes of social media. How important does that play?
Well, it's growing. And one of the things that I feel we underlook in South African social media is the power of visuals and the power of video. We're getting better with things like tweeting and Facebook and LinkedIn, but we're still not harnessing the power of, say, novel visuals. I watched a video the other day, just a car manufacturer, and you see how clever they are about creating viral videos. Just for example, this one treated a car like a bullet, and it had it going through a massive balloon in slow motion. You see the water exploding, and the bigger companies are very good at propagating visuals. We can do that too, and it's relatively affordable for a new entrepreneur, but you have to think creatively.
Tell us about the book, where, when, how much, all the details.
Well, it hit the
Is this your
bookstores.
first book?
It is, in fact, the first one with Penguin. I had a public speaking book published before. I'm a 5-time winner of the SA Champs for public speaking.
Nice.
First one with Penguin, and I'm proud to be with them. It hit the bookstores this weekend, and it was amazing to walk in and see all this yellow all over the shelves. It's on sale for 206 Rand in bookstores nationally.
Why yellow?
Well, a lot of canaries gave their life for this company, but we feel that it pops.
Great. So Douglas Kruger, he's chatting to us about his book, Own Your Own Industry, How to Position Yourself as an Expert. Every Monday morning here on Book Africa, we have an author. You can get it at all leading retail bookstores. 208 Rand it'll cost you. Douglas, appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck with the book. I'm going to read it, see what happens.
Only a pleasure. Hope it works for you.
Thanks very much. Douglas Kruger chatting to us with regards to our author segment this morning. Let's check in now with some sports news. And Sri Lanka beat India in the maiden